Hey guys, today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to focus on my favorite horror franchise and rank its best movies. Paranormal Activity is, in my opinion, the best and the scariest horror franchise, and it's incredible what they have achieved with so little, which makes us all understand that you can scare people with literally everything and you just have to know how to do so. So in this countdown I have 3 titles that I have attributed to 3 of the Paranormal Activity films, which are the scariest, the most rewatchable, and the best one. So with all being said, let's begin. So starting our countdown, we have Paranormal Activity 2. And even though I put this film at number 5, doesn't mean that it is a bad movie. It just means that it's not as good as the other 4 films of this franchise. This film serves as an explanation to the events of the first Paranormal Activity, as it happens 2 months before the night of the first film, as we follow Katie's sister, Christy, as soon as she gave birth to her newborn baby Hunter. The film style in this film is pretty much the same as the first one. We have a few brief introductions to the characters in the beginning of this film, and then we start seeing the footage of the security cameras of their house. The explanation to why they have the security cameras is that someone broke into their home and trashed the whole place. Problem is, they didn't steal anything, so they are suspicious to why they broke into their home, so to feel safer, they bought these security cameras. What stands out in this film in comparison to the others are the paranormal events that surround this newborn baby, since we don't want anything to happen to Hunter, so we feel very tense. And also the first part of the film is very slow paced, because it creates this very big build-up by only showing us hints of the presence of this demon, such as the sequences from the pool equipment that were very clever. But all of this makes the first part very boring and uninteresting, in which they actually compensate with the very big jump scare in the kitchen that none of us predicted, as we jolt and get scared since we know that from that point onward the demon is not stopping. The end of this film correlates exactly to the last night of the first film and shows what Katie did after she killed her boyfriend Mika, and what we see surprises us to the point of not believing what just happened, as Katie is still possessed from the demon of this first film and has no mercy or compassion to what she does in her sister's home. Remember when I told you I was going to give away 3 titles to 3 of these Paranormal Activity films? Well, believe it or not, Paranormal Activity 4 is the most rewatchable film of this franchise. So if you're looking for a film to only get scared and not care much about its lore and story, this film is the perfect pick, as it doesn't have much correlation to the rest of the films. In this film, we view a family living their normal life, but something has changed. They have a new neighbor, and this new neighbor has a kid that is not only creepy but invasive, which attracts the parents of this family to wanting to know him and making him get along with their youngest son. But our lead protagonist and her boyfriend know something is not right with this kid, so they spy on him using their computer cameras to uncover what he's doing when he spends the night in their house. The aesthetic of showing us the footage is very innovative, since we feel like we were the ones who hacked into their computers. And also this film has one of my favorite schemes to showing us the presence of the demon, with the Xbox Kinect system, where it displays a lot of small dots around the room, and as soon as we see those dots wrap around something invisible, we know that the demon is right there. But sadly, I don't think this has aged so well, because a lot of people forgot how this system works and its actual existence. The end of this film was also very enjoyable, as we see the protagonist and her boyfriend go investigate their neighbor's house, where this kid supposedly lives in. And what they find will make anyone want to close their eyes for how insane it all was. At number 3, we have the film that started it all. Not only a great franchise, but also a great production company that some of you may know, called Blumhouse. The fact that this film is the most profitable film ever made is incredible, as it spent the bare minimum and used unknown actors, which is completely astonishing. The marketing campaign showing people's reactions to how crazy and terrifying this film was in its premieres was very clever, as because of this the film was regarded for a very long time as the scariest film ever made. The usage of background noise to when the demon was present in the house and was going to strike was an effective way to create tension and build up to the actual scares. Both Katie and Mika were amazing in this film, as they looked incredibly real by having an amazing chemistry together and performing perfectly as a real couple who just took their big step in their relationship by moving in together into their new house. The usage of practical strategies to create the scares and to make this film feel like it was homemade, so it transcends authenticity and makes us question whether what we're seeing is hacked footage from someone's home cameras, was mind-blowing. As they made found footage a well-respected genre once again, and made it not only become more popular but also become more attractive to new horror directors who don't have a big budget to make their films. Now to one other title, and this is the scariest Paranormal Activity film that correlates to one of my biggest interests, which are urban legends and creepypastas. Paranormal Activity 3 did exactly that, with the most tense and horrifying sequence of an urban legend, and that was Bloody Mary. This film is set very far back when Katie and Christy were very little, and follows the story of their mom, the boyfriend of the mom, and most importantly their grandmother. The boyfriend decides to film everything since he started hearing unexplainable sounds inside their house, and by doing so he showcases the life of these two sisters. In this film, moving cameras were introduced, which created my favorite shot of this whole franchise, that involved a bedsheet and a scared babysitter. Also, once more, the sequence of Bloody Mary scared me for life, just for how real it felt and how it got me invested in these spooky tales and myths. Toby the demon was also much more explored in this film, as he was an imaginary friend of Christy and was the one who was making all these supernatural events happen. This film has my favorite ending in the franchise as well, since in my opinion it's the one that pushes the horror to another level, since it builds a lot of tension, and when they break it they don't stop with the scares and the horrors. A lot of scenes in this film still make me gasp and want to close my eyes for how well crafted and truly scary they all were. Mexican culture is something very little explored in horror, and that makes me mad because it's so easy to craft a horror movie based on this mythology, since it's so sinister and truly scary. Well, Paranormal Activity the Marked One succeeded on this, as it grabbed this Mexican mythology and made a story out of it, so it could correlate to the events and to the lore of the Paranormal Activity franchise. In this film, we follow the life of a Mexican boy who just graduated high school, and now he wants to document his new adult life with his new camera that he bought at a pawn shop. And with this, we see how this Mexican community lives and behaves, which makes us immersed and invested in this Mexican apartment complex, as every character there means something. The film style in this entry changes completely, as now instead of us looking at security footage, we look at his day-to-day life with his new camera and friends, who are probably the most realistic and genuine friends I've ever seen in any film. This Paranormal Activity transcends authenticity, as not only it's the most different but also the most interesting, and because of it I awarded this film with the title of being the best one of the whole franchise. The exploration our main character has with his new friends on this Mexican mythology is essential, so they can understand what their elderly bruja Mexican neighbor is up to, and also understand why he started acting strange and sort of possessed. The ending makes some of the events of the first film be explained with the introduction of time travel by the friends of our protagonists, and also the break-in they all commit with a Mexican gang to slay some crazy witches of this paranormal cult is not only badass, but also grotesque and terrifying, as we witness the rituals the witches are about to perform to make Toby the demon come to life via time travel.